So like I promised in my last Tokyo Ghoul review, I said I'd be going back and looking at the diaries in Volume 4 of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Now, today's video is mainly just going to be talking about Hinami's diary, what situation she's in, and truthfully, what this really means for her as a character. And there is a couple things I will mention that might, kind of be shown in this video I want to talk about, but also for a future video, because there was some information I discovered while researching these diaries that warrants another video focused on Eto and her connection with the Tsukiyama family. But for now, though, I'm just going to talk about Hinami's diary. So, according to the diary, it says that Hinami, she feels like the prison, the Ghoul prison that she's currently in, is not really that bad. She says it's actually a better life than it is kind of living on the outside. That's how far Hinami goes along to say how good this Ghoul prison is. She's surprised how they're treated in this prison. She comes to find out what the ghouls eat in the prison. And to her surprise, they eat some form of stew. Now, this is one of the main details you want to take out of this diary from Hinami, is that there is some form of stew that the prisoners of the Ghoul prison are being fed. And with the way this was done, it makes you start wondering, okay, so if it's some form of stew, what exactly is this stew? Is it humans? Is it ghouls? Is it something else? Is it synthetic meat? What in the hell is this stew? Because from the dialogue, from what Hinami says, she's not really certain what it really was. She says it's like stew, and she doesn't know if it was human or ghoul. Like, she can't really tell. So, I don't think that the CCG would feed humans to ghouls. I just don't think that is what is going on. And so, instantly, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, so they're probably feeding some form of ghouls to Hinami. And then I was thinking, like, wait a minute. As I covered in my previous chapter reviews, it is possible if they could figure out a way to extract RC cells from a ghoul or humans, they could possibly add this into some form of fake synthetic meat to be able to feed to ghouls. Because really, ghouls don't really need the meat of humans. What they need is the RC cells inside of them to be able to survive. So, it might be possible that they might have found a way to make some form of synthetic meat, and then they are feeding ghouls with this synthetic meat with RC cells implanted inside of them. That might be one of the things going on here. Hinami goes along the lines of saying she's going crazy. She feels like she's going crazy. She wants to see her Ani-chan or Ane-chan. She wants to see all of them. She wants to see Banjo. She wants to see Nishio. She goes along the lines of writing all these names down, which brings me to the point I want to talk about. She's currently in a prison. She's reading poems and books and stuff, and she, has CCG watching over her. And she goes along the lines of writing down these names in a diary that the CCG can look at. So, not a very smart move by Hinami by writing down important names in the diary for CCG to look at and to hunt down. Like, she goes and talks about Inteku, she goes and talks about, Banjo, Tsukiyama, and I mean, there's just many details in it that point towards, like, that's some dangerous information you're giving up, Hinami. If that gets into the wrong hands, that's bad. Now, one of the saddest things about it, though, is how she says, like, she feels like she's going crazy, and she wants the last person she sees to be Sasuke or Kaneki. The last person to see her before she dies, she wants it to be Sasuke. That's sad. So, Hinami realizes she's probably spending her final days in the prison, and she is going to die eventually. And she wants the final person to see her before she's done to be Sasuke. That's pretty heart-touching right there. That's pretty fucking heart-touching. Now, getting along the lines of the crazy issue. As I already pointed out, the stew that's being fed to ghouls in the prison, we don't know if it is human meat, ghoul meat, or some form of synthetic RC cell supplement. We don't really know what it is. But if you go back to chapter 115, which that's the chapter you need to go back to in part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul. If you go back to chapter 115 of Tokyo Ghoul part 1, you will see Eto meet Almond. And when Eto's around, usually you're going to get some good information. If you go back to that chapter, it's the same exact chapter I referenced a couple of chapters ago when I was talking about V and how they want to burn bridges and stuff. Almond figuring out about V. That right there is the chapter I was talking about a couple chapters ago. And I didn't even realize that in this diary that we got from Hinami, it also references this chapter, because Eto talks to Almond about how there was this company called Sphinx that was compressing ghouls down into some form of liquid, putting them in a bottle or vial or whatever, and selling these, liquid bottles to CCG, secretly. And the president of Sphinx and, the people connected to it was the Yasuhisa twins. And if you know Yasuhisa twins, their father and their parents were killed. Well, their father was one that was in charge of this liquid that was being made, that was ghouls being turned into liquid form and being sold to CCG, and this was used to make Quinque and RC supplements. That's what this liquid is for. So if you think about it like that, now that you put it in perspective, the information I talked about a long time ago about Eto destroying families, or might be connected to the Yasuhisa twins, it seems more and more true now, because to be taking ghouls, compressing them down into liquid, selling it to CCG, and then all of a sudden this dude gets killed off by a ghoul, it makes you assume that it was Eto, maybe because the ghouls that the father was using was ghouls that Eto knew of. That is a possibility, but it could also lead into, she just wants to fuck up families. But the connection, once again, is there between Eto and that family. But that's not the main point of discussion I want to get. That's for another video, because I have some more information I want to cover about that. The thing is that what's being used right now in this stew, what's being fed to ghouls in this prison, might be compressed ghouls. Ghouls that have been turned into liquid form and then being given to ghouls to eat. So, the way you can take this right now is like, Hinami right now is eating ghouls. And all the ghouls in the prison are eating ghouls. And it makes me wonder, is there a high chance of them developing a Kakuja? I wonder if there is a chance of them developing a Kakuja in prison. Because Hinami says that she feels like she's going crazy. And knowing Ashita, the way Ashita writes, when he says dialogue like that, even little diaries and comics and stuff usually hint at something that's in the future. He goes with some subtle writing that you won't even realize until you're 100 chapters down the road. You're like, holy shit, that's what that meant. I wonder if he's implying that either A, what Hinami is currently eating, this stew, is making her crazy because she's eating ghouls and she's developing a Kakuja, or maybe he's implying that she might eventually get a half Kakuja. One or the other, because she has been an Ogiri tree, and we don't know if she has eaten ghouls or not, because if we remember in the drafts of Route A, you had it to where Kaneki was being forced to eat a person. He ate a person. He was being forced to eat a fucking human being. Kaneki was. To prove his loyalty to Ogiri Tree. And for Ashita to write that, it makes you assume other ghouls might also be forced to do stuff like that, to probably be initiated into, Ogiri Tree, or some other forms of initiation. And I wonder if Hinami has done as well. She's been eating ghouls and stuff while she's been in Ogiri Tree. Whatever the case may be, talking about a couple things before I end this video, is that there is a topic I will make very soon that shows a connection between the Tsukiyama family and Eto, along with talking about more about Torso's diary to Shu's father's diary, which I will talk eventually about. But for now, I just want to talk about Hinami and this important information we were given about what ghouls are eating, and it might imply what Kaneki is eating, or Sasuke is eating right now. Because if they are using some form of liquid form of food for ghouls, and ghouls in prison, that might be what, Sasuke's currently eating. He's eating some form of stew once a month to be able to survive, and he's eating ghouls. Well, it'd be very fucked up, like a very fucked up thing if it was like that. What if this liquid that Hinami and then, Sasuke's currently drinking or eating or whatever, what if this was compressed ghouls from the Anteku raid? Like, what if ghouls that we know of, like the friends of Hinami and Kaneki back in the end of part 1 that died to save them and fought CCG, what if the bodies of them were used, which I'm willing to bet they were, what if they were used, and then right now, Sasuke and Hinami are being fed their friends? Think about that. That's fucked up shit right there, because they're compressing ghouls. So, yeah. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you all feel about that? I'll be making a video very soon. I don't know when, but I will be making one very soon about Eto's connection to the Tsukiyama family, more along the lines of Shu's diary. I might put Shu's father's diary in the video with Eto and the Tsukiyama family connection. I might put those two together. But there is another diary, Torso's diary, which came out, which I want to get into. And that diary is fucking weird. Holy shit, that diary is weird. But I'll save that for the video. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You have a wonderful day or not, wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.